Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to comedians and writers Sarah Colonna and Brad Wollack, best known for their work on the e-talk show Chelsea Lately. They branched out this past year with the rest of the writing staff on After Lately, which begins its second season on E! On Sunday, November 27th at 11 p.m. Stick around! So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview. You know, MrMedia.com, MRmedia.com. Stop by and check it out. There are more than 900 archived celebrity and pop culture interviews for your listening pleasure. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of stand-up comedians who would give their left punchline for a shot on the Chelsea Lately panel in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. A casual viewer of Chelsea Handler's monologue on her nightly e-talk show Chelsea Lately might come away with the suspicion that she has no respect at all for her staff. On the other hand, where would the careers of Heather McDonald, Chuy, and my guest today, Sarah Colonna and Brad Wollack, be without those zingers? They certainly wouldn't be starring in the second season of After Lately, a behind-the-scenes mockumentary that airs after Chelsea's Gabfest. It returns this Sunday, November 27th at 11 p.m., just after Chelsea Lately on E! And Sarah Colonna, by the way, is the great niece of longtime Bob Hope's sidekick and comedian Jerry Colonna, who sported one of show business's all-time great mustaches. Got to throw that in. Both Wollack and Colonna are established comedians in their own right, but you have to bet they relish almost every moment of national attention thrown their way by the boss. That, and the fact that Chelsea Handler just extended her E-deal another 2 years, or 4 Kardashian marriage and divorce cycles. Sarah and Brad, welcome to Mr. Media.
Hi, how are you?
You did a great job.
That was a very good introduction.
Very thorough, correct.
I like the details.
Yeah.
Thank you. I should probably quit now, but I'm going to forge ahead anyway. Hey, Sarah, are people wrong in assuming that if you're on the Chelsea Lately staff, you live with a bullseye on your back or your butt or your chest or any other body part that's available?
No, there's definitely, you're always a target, especially with, not only from Chelsea, but with each other. We all give each other a really hard time in a very good way, though. But luckily, we all have a pretty thick skin, and we all are friends. So if we're not giving each other a hard time, then that's a bad sign. It's actually, it's like abuse is love in that office, and we all know that.
And when, and maybe Brad wants to answer this, when did the occasional staff reference in the monologue grow into a regular part of the whole atmospherics of the show?
You know, that's actually an interesting question. That started developing since day one. The only problem is, day one, most people didn't know who Chelsea was talking about. Fortunately, now 4.5 years later, with the show's audience having grown quite large and all of our presence being that much greater, obviously now people know, and it becomes part of the fun for the regular viewer, that they're kind of in on the joke and they're in on the family, which is, I think, a lot of the appeal of After Lately. You know, it's about being part of this family of rejects and seeing what we get up to every day.
It seems like it sort of started early in the show with Chuy, and it just kind of expanded exponentially from there.
Well, yeah. Well, making fun of Chuy was easy.
Yeah.
For day one, he's still a very, very rich, untapped well of comic gold.
I think that's the best thing about Chelsea too, is that she wants to bring everyone up around her, and she has so much fun with her staff, and she finds so many things, funny in all of our different personalities. So the fact that she's like wanting to bring it to national attention, and it's working, because everyone seems to, get the jokes when you have the Heather McDonald, the Brad joke, like exactly what she's talking about, and I think people are really starting to get a sense of everyone's personality on the show.
Yeah, she really helps define our personas and make us. She gave me my voice in many respects,
and she makes you face your flaws and deal with it.
Yeah, and then no, it's true though. You embrace who you are in a good way, and that makes you actually a stronger performer and writer and all that good stuff.
Well, and I kind of wondered that. I mean, did you guys ever have any idea how many failings you had before joining Chelsea?
Yes, actually, it's funny. I came across it the other day, and then I'll let you speak, Sarah. But I came across something the other day, because I remember there's like this old thing where, Abraham Lincoln, it talks about all his failures until he got to be president. And president was like his first success in politics and in his career and everything. And I had made a list of my own a couple of years ago and talked about that I was fired from here. I didn't get this. I was told I wasn't good enough here and everything. And Chelsea's the first one who didn't care what I looked like, didn't care that I wasn't traditional. She saw something in me as she did in everyone and said, I want you to be part of my show.
Yeah. Well, I think, and all of us are, comedians and have been working as comedians for a long time, even before Chelsea lately. So you already have to have a pretty good sense of humor about yourself. But I think the best thing about this office and working with Chelsea and what she does is she, if there is something you maybe feel insecure about or that's it makes you laugh at it. Like it's like embrace it, because everybody obviously has flaws, and what better way to, deal with them than to laugh at them and just be like, yeah, that's exactly what I do, and it's probably not going to change, so everybody has to kind of deal with it along with you.
And I think that's what audiences relate to.
Yeah.
They realize we're not perfect.
Well, I don't know. Let's not go that far.
Well, I'm not perfect.
Well, speaking of not perfect, how much has After Lately changed for season 2 from season 1?
It's I guess it's just the stories for the most part. Everything that we do on the show is based on something that happened. So obviously, every time now something was in the office, like all year after the first season, we were like, oh, we got to write that down for After Lately. Like, you're always now thinking in that mindset. And this year we have a ton of great guest stars, which is bigger. We had Reese Witherspoon last year, and now we have Jennifer Aniston and James Van Der Beek and Dave Grohl and James Fonda,
and Leno, and they all playing against type, and they're really good sports. So, obviously they're not coming to E for the money. They're coming because we're doing some fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I think another difference, we added a couple new regular cast members, Josh Wolf and Jen Kirkman, and it's the same ridiculousness. But Sarah is right. I mean, now I excuse all bad behavior as, this will make a good After Lately storyline. So I'll do something inappropriate just because I know it can make a good storyline for After Lately, which probably isn't the most healthy way to go through life. But
well, the good thing about that, too, is that we've also discovered the show is a very passive-aggressive way to get things accomplished in the office. Like, for instance, we have an episode about a PA that won't help us, like basically won't do anything. And that's from a true story where you would just ask this guy to go, like, they're obviously supposed to be there to assist, and you would say, oh, where's the copy paper? And he'd basically just point at it, and you'd be like, oh. But we were too afraid to confront him on it, so we just wrote an episode about it.
And I probably just have one question, time for one question left. Chelsea signed, as I mentioned earlier, the 2-year contract extension. Does that affect the future of After and then you guys?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we hope After Lately goes on forever. Listen, my contract's up on December 31st, and no one's contacted me from the network. I don't know how to read that. Has anyone contacted you?
I won't say. I don't want to upset you while we're being interviewed. But
weird.
Definitely. As long as our hope is that as long as Chelsea Lately is on, so is After Lately, and then even past that, perhaps, because we think it's becoming its own thing.
Yeah, and the good news, in a very insecure business, we found a little security. And to know that the show will be on, at least Chelsea Lately will be on until through 2014 is kind of a relief.
That's good. Well, folks, listen, you can see comedians Brad Wollack and Sarah Colonna regularly on Chelsea Lately with Chelsea Handler, and on the second season of that show's behind-the-scenes mockumentary, After Lately. Both are on E. Sarah and Brad, thank you so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
Thank you very much.
For more original interviews, surf over to our main website, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. If you've enjoyed today's show, subscribe for free to Mr. Media via email, RSS, or iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Another good idea, download our new free Mr. Media mobile app in the Android market. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many parts of the Internet. Show your support of Mr. Media by supporting our sponsors, including Audible. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/radio. Again, that's audibletrial.com/radio for your free audiobook. We're also supported by the partyauthority.us. Call DJ Ira for all your party entertainment needs nationwide at 1-800-DIAL-DJs or visit their website, thepartyauthority.us. If you've got an idea for a guest, a comment on today's show, or would like to advertise on Mr. Media Radio, email me directly at bob@mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. You can also call our 24-hour listener line at 1-727-498-4711. Some messages may be used in an upcoming show, and unless you live next door to Mr. Media, there may be a toll charge. You can also follow Mr. Media on Facebook, Twitter, or our new YouTube and Vimeo video channels. Thanks so much for joining us today. I always appreciate you sharing a piece of your day with Mr. Media. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
This is Rhonda Shear, and I'd rather be up all night with Gilbert Gottfried than Mr. Media.
Hey folks, you can hear Mr. Media while on the go now with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free news and talk mobile app available for your smartphone, whether you use an iPhone, iPod Touch, Android, BlackBerry Curve, or Palm Pre. And when you download Stitcher to hear Mr. Media today, you have a chance to win some real money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in your smartphone's app store. Download it, it's free, takes seconds. Then, during registration, hit the promo code box and enter Mr. Media, that's MR Media, to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episode of Mr. Media will be waiting for you in Stitcher's favorites right on your phone. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too, always available to you on demand, no syncing. Some of my favorites include WTF with Mark Maron, Plus One Per Diem with Kevin Smith, and The Nerdist with Chris Hardwick. It's all free and all instant to you on Stitcher Smart Radio. And don't forget to win the money. Enter promo code Mr. Media, MR Media, when you register. And thanks for listening.